So this happened back in 2021, in a small-ass town in Ohio where literally nothing ever happens. I was 19 back then, living with my mom and little brother. Halloween night used to be a big deal for us. The whole neighborhood would decorate, kids in costumes everywhere, and we'd hand out candy from our porch till like 10 p.m. That year, I wasn't planning to do anything. My friends were all out at parties, and I was just home scrolling through my phone. Around 8:30, I heard the doorbell ring. Again. We'd already had like 100 kids come by, so I figured it was another group. I grabbed the candy bowl, opened the door, and saw this one dude. Not a kid. He was tall, probably my age, or a little older, wearing a cheap Halloween mask. One of those blank, expressionless white masks with tiny black eye holes. He wasn't holding a bag or bucket, just standing there. I kinda laughed and said, "Yo man, aren't you a little too old to be trick-or-treating?" He didn't say a word, just tilted his head a little. That silence felt weird, so I dropped a few candies into the empty hand he had out, more like just to end it, and closed the door. Didn't think much of it after that, till maybe 15 minutes later. Doorbell again. This time, my brother answered. I heard him yell, "Trick or treat," in his little 10-year-old voice. Then suddenly he got quiet. I came over like, "What's up?" He pointed outside and whispered, "Bro, it's that same guy." I looked, and he was right. Same mask, same dude, standing at the bottom of the driveway. Didn't move, didn't talk. I yelled, "Yo, go bother somebody else, man." He didn't react, just turned his head again, then slowly walked off into the street. I swear, it looked like he was dragging his feet. That's when I locked the door. By around 9:30, the street got quiet. Most houses turned off their porch lights. Halloween was pretty much done. I was sitting in the living room, watching Netflix, when I noticed something outside the window. You know how when someone stands near the glass, you can kinda see the shape even through the curtains? Yeah, it was faint. But I swear, I saw someone standing just behind the curtain, on the porch, like a tall shadow. Didn't knock, didn't ring, just standing. I muted the TV, didn't hear footsteps, nothing. I peeked through the curtain just a little. And bro, he was right there, like inches away, that same mask, just staring straight at me. I jumped back so hard I dropped the remote. My heart was going crazy. I shouted for my mom. She was already upstairs, yelling, "What happened?" By the time she came down, I ran to the door. But when I opened it, he was gone. No footsteps, no noise, just the candy bowl knocked over, and one of those white mask straps lying on the floor. I wanted to believe it was just some random prankster, but something about how silent he was, how he moved, didn't feel human. We locked every door that night. Mom said to let it go, that it was probably just some kid messing around, but I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I woke up to my dog growling at the window. Low, deep growl. I got up, looked out, and there he was again, same mask, standing in our backyard. But this time, he wasn't alone. So yeah, when I looked out that window, I saw him. Same mask, same stiff, quiet stance. But this time, there were two others behind him. All three of them just standing there in the backyard. Not moving, not talking, just facing the house. For a second, I honestly thought I was dreaming. Like maybe my brain was making it up, 'cause I was half asleep or something. But my dog was growling, tail low, staring dead at the window. That's when I knew it was real. I grabbed my phone, hit record and whispered, "Yo, if anyone's out there, I'm calling the cops. The moment I said that, one of them tilted his head, slowly, like that same creepy gesture from before. Then the other one took a step forward. I swear, bro, it looked like his feet weren't even making noise on the grass. Just a soft shuffle. I ran to my mom's room, woke her up, and by the time we came back, they were gone again. The backyard gate, still locked. No sound of running, no crunch of leaves, just gone. I showed Mom the video, but in the dark, all you could see were faint figures. She said it was just kids from the neighborhood. But no damn kids are that tall. I couldn't shake the feeling. So the next morning, I went outside to check the backyard, and there it was. 3 sets of footprints in the wet grass. Barefoot, not shoes, not boots, just long, thin, bare feet. Prints leading all the way to our back fence. And stopping there. No sign of them jumping over. No prints on the other side, just vanished. I swear to God, bro, I couldn't breathe when I saw that. Called the cops right after. 2 officers came, looked around, and you could tell by their faces they didn't believe a word I said. One of them even laughed, like, probably just some kids high on something. But the other cop, older guy, he pulled me aside and asked, "Where exactly do you live again?" When I told him the address, his face kinda went blank. Then he said, real low, "You know a family used to live here about 15 years ago, right?" I was like, "Yeah, so," he goes, "their son went missing on Halloween night. He was wearing a white mask." I just stared at him, didn't even know what to say. He said they never found him, or his 2 friends, and it all happened in this same house. Bro, when he said that, I felt my stomach twist. Everything suddenly made sense. The silence, the way they moved, the way they didn't leave footprints outside the fence. After the cops left, I deleted the video from my phone. Didn't want to see that mask again. We moved out 3 months later. Haven't been back since. But every Halloween, around the same time, my phone randomly buzzes. No caller ID, just a single picture message. A white mask lying on grass. And the caption always says, "Trick or treat." This happened back in October of 2021 when I was 14. My family had this small tradition where every Halloween weekend, we'd drive out to the countryside and spend 2 nights at some random farm or campground that hosted fall events, hayrides, bonfires, pumpkin patches, all that small town stuff. It was always my mom's idea, honestly. She said it was wholesome. I just liked getting out of school for a couple of days. That year, she booked a place about an hour outside our town in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. It was one of those family-run resorts that tried really hard to be spooky in a cute way. Fake cobwebs, orange lights, skeletons zip-tied to fences. You get the picture. The brochure said there'd be a haunted hayride through the woods, which was the main reason I agreed to go. We checked in Friday afternoon. The air was crisp, smelled like wood smoke and caramel apples. Kids were already running around in costumes, screaming and throwing candy at each other. It felt safe. The cabins were lined up in 2 rows, facing a big open field that dipped into the tree line at the back. We were staying in cabin 6, a small 2-bedroom spot right next to another family with a kid my age. His name was Evan, and we clicked right away. He was into horror movies, wore a Michael Myers hoodie, and immediately started talking about how the hayride there was actually scary. He'd been there the year before, Around 6:30 that evening, the resort staff started gathering everyone for the hayride. The tractor was parked by a big red barn, pulling 2 flat wagons stacked with hay bales for people to sit on. There were maybe 30 people total, mostly families, a few couples, and a bunch of kids like us. The workers were dressed up as scarecrows, zombies, even one dude wearing a fake chainsaw mask. They were joking around, keeping it light. When the sun dipped below the trees, they lit torches along the trail, and the ride started. At first, it was just fun. People laughing, a few jump scares from guys popping out of the woods. Evan and I were sitting toward the back of the second wagon, talking and eating mini Snickers bars. We were trying to guess when the next actor would show up. Then the tractor turned onto a narrower path, one that cut deep into the forest where the torches were spaced farther apart. It got darker, quieter. The usual chatter died down. That's when I noticed someone standing near one of the torches off the trail. He wasn't dressed like any of the workers I'd seen earlier. No makeup, no costume, no fake blood. He was just still, completely motionless. He had a gray hoodie, black jeans, and a baseball cap pulled low, so I couldn't see his face. His hands were shoved into his pockets. At first, I thought maybe he was part of the show, like maybe a quiet observer or something. But the longer I looked, the more wrong it felt. The torchlight flickered across his face, but his head didn't move. Not when the tractor rolled past, not when people screamed. Just standing there like a statue. I remember whispering to Evan, "You see that guy?" He turned and looked, then gave this uneasy laugh. "Probably one of the workers," he said. But even he didn't sound convinced. As we passed, the guy slowly turned his head. Not fast, not dramatic, just enough to follow the wagon with his gaze. It felt like he was locking eyes with me. I know it sounds crazy, but even in that dim light, I could tell it wasn't part of the act. The rest of the ride went on like normal. Actors jumped out, people screamed, kids laughed. But I couldn't stop thinking about that guy. When the tractor looped back toward the barn, I looked again at that same spot in the woods. He was gone. After the ride ended, they had music playing near the bonfire. Families were roasting marshmallows and drinking hot chocolate. Everything looked normal again. Still, that uneasy feeling stuck with me. Evan and I walked over to the snack table. That's when I noticed him again. Same gray hoodie, same hat. He was standing near the far tree line, maybe 50 feet away, half in the shadows, facing us, not moving. I told Evan, "That's the same guy from the woods." He looked, squinted his eyes, and then said, "Yeah, okay, that's creepy." We watched him for maybe 10 seconds before he slowly turned and walked back toward the trees. Not fast, not running, just casual. But he didn't come back out. We tried to shake it off. It was Halloween weekend. Maybe someone was just messing around. But still, something about the way he moved, or didn't move, made my stomach twist. Later that night, after the bonfire died down, most of the families went back to their cabins. The noise faded, and the air got colder. Evan and I were sitting on the steps outside Cabin 6, just talking about dumb stuff. School, movies, whatever. From where we sat, we could see the edge of the woods, maybe 100 yards away. And I swear to God, I saw a light flicker between the trees, like someone had turned on a flashlight for half a second, then turned it off. I said, "Did you see that?" Evan nodded. We both stood up, staring into the dark. A minute passed, then another. Then, the flashlight flickered again, just once. This time closer. Evan whispered, Maybe it's one of the workers cleaning up, but no one else was out there. We could hear laughter from the main lodge behind us, but the field in front of us was dead quiet. We stood there frozen, eyes fixed on that patch of trees. Nothing. Then, from the same direction, came a sharp crack, like a branch snapping, and then another. He whispered, "Dude, get inside." We both backed up to the door, keeping our eyes on the woods. I fumbled with the key, unlocked it, and we went inside. We turned off all the lights, peeking through the window blinds. The flashlight flickered again, this time even closer to the cabins. Then it disappeared. We didn't say a word. We just sat there listening, hearts pounding. After a few minutes, we heard slow, heavy footsteps on the gravel outside. Not running, not rushing, just walking. Each step crunched closer and closer. We didn't move. We didn't breathe. The footsteps stopped right outside our door. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Evan stirred, saw where I was looking, and gasped out loud. The face vanished instantly, just ducked out of sight. We both scrambled up, yelling for my parents. My dad burst into the room with the flashlight. We yanked open the door. Nothing. No one outside, but there were fresh boot prints in the dew right under the window. They led around the side of the cabin and disappeared into the woods. Dad called the front office. Within minutes, 2 security guys drove over on a golf cart, radios crackling. They searched the area with flashlights. About 20 minutes later, one of them came back, face pale. He said, "We found fresh tracks behind the cabins. Whoever it was cut through the fence toward the back trail. That trail was the same one used for the hayride. They told us they'd patrol the area all night just in case. But sleep? Nah. We sat up until dawn, lights on, every sound making us jump. The next morning, the staff acted like nothing happened. People were eating pancakes at the lodge, laughing, planning their next hayride. Evan and I were dead silent. We didn't even go near the woods. Later, one of the maintenance guys told my dad something weird. Apparently, a few nights before we arrived, a transient man had been spotted near the back fence. Someone camping illegally in the forest. Cops came out but never found him. They just assumed he'd moved on. I don't think he did. That evening, as we packed to leave, I took one last look toward the trees behind the cabins. The light was fading, the air thick and orange with sunset. And right there, half hidden behind a tree trunk, I saw something gray, a hoodie. I blinked and it was gone. No movement, no sound, just the rustle of leaves. We didn't say goodbye to anyone. We just got in the car and drove. For weeks afterward, I couldn't sleep without checking the window. Every time I saw someone in a gray hoodie, my chest tightened. A month later, Evan texted me a photo. It was from a local news site. Headline said, "Unidentified male found near Hayride Trail. No foul play suspected." The picture showed the police tape near that same red barn. They said the man was estimated to be in his 40s, homeless, been dead for several days. The timestamp on the report? October 28th, the day before we saw him on the trail. I don't know what that means. Maybe we saw him before he died. Or maybe whatever was standing outside our cabin that night wasn't him anymore.